There are moments in life when everything feels uncertain, doors close unexpectedly, prayers seem unanswered, plans fall apart. You lie awake at night wondering how things will work out. You try to stay strong, but deep inside, fear keeps whispering that things may never change. But today, hear this truth clearly. Don't worry, God is already making a way. Before you cried your first tear about that situation, God already saw the problem. Before the doctor gave the report, before the bills piled up, before that relationship fell apart, before that opportunity disappeared, God was already working behind the scenes. What you call a surprise, God calls a scheduled appointment. You may not see movement right now, but that does not mean God is inactive. Just because heaven seems silent does not mean heaven is absent. God often works in places your eyes cannot reach. When the children of Israel stood trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army, they thought their story was ending. Fear gripped their hearts. Panic filled their minds. There seemed to be no escape. But God made a way where there was no way. The sea that looked like an obstacle became the very path of their deliverance. And maybe that's where you are right now. You're staring at something impossible, a financial burden, a broken dream, a painful delay, a closed door. You keep asking God, how will this work out? And God is saying, trust me, I already have a way prepared. Sometimes God allows impossible situations so you can witness undeniable miracles. If everything worked according to your plan, you might take the credit. But when God steps in and does what only He can do, there is no confusion about who deserves the glory. Stop measuring God's ability by your limitations. Your resources may be low, but God's resources are unlimited. Your strength may be weak, but God never gets tired. Your wisdom may run out, but God knows the end from the beginning. The delay you're frustrated about may actually be divine preparation. God may be protecting you from something you cannot see. He may be building your character before releasing your blessing. He may be teaching patience before opening the next door. Worry changes nothing. Worry steals your peace. Worry drains your energy. Worry makes you focus on problems instead of promises. Faith does the opposite. Faith says, even when I don't understand, I trust. Thank God. Faith says, even when I don't see a way, I believe God is creating one. Faith says, my current situation is not my final destination. Remember this. God specializes in impossible situations. He opened prison doors. He healed diseases. He restored broken lives. He provided in deserts. He calmed storms. And He has not changed. The same God who made a way before can make a way again. Your waiting season is not wasted. Your tears are not ignored. Your prayers are not forgotten. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think. One phone call can change everything. One opportunity can shift your future. One miracle can rewrite your story. So instead of worrying, start praying. Instead of complaining, start praising. Instead of doubting, start believing. Wake up every day with expectation. Declare that your problem is temporary, but God's power is eternal. Declare that what seems impossible to you is easy for God. Declare that your breakthrough is on the way. Hold on. Stay faithful. Keep believing. God is working in places you cannot see. He is opening doors. He is moving obstacles. He is aligning opportunities. He is preparing answers. And when the way finally appears, you will. I realize God was working all along. Don't worry. God is already making a way. And what He has prepared for you will be worth the wait. One of the greatest struggles people face is dealing with uncertainty. We want answers immediately. We want to know how things will work out, when the breakthrough will come, and what tomorrow will look like. When life becomes unpredictable, fear often begins to take control. You may be facing financial pressure, relationship struggles, health concerns, emotional pain, or career setbacks, and it feels like your world is falling apart. But what you must understand is that none of this caught God by surprise. Before your problem ever appeared in your life, God already knew it was coming and had a plan prepared. God does not react to your crisis the way humans do. People panic when unexpected situations arise because they are limited in knowledge and power. God is different. He sees the end before the beginning. He knows every obstacle, every disappointment, every closed door, and every painful season you will encounter. Nothing in your life has ever shocked him. While you may feel overwhelmed by what is happening right now, God remains firmly in control. Think about how often people lose peace because they believe their situation is out of control. When a job is lost unexpectedly, fear immediately whispers that there will never be another opportunity. When relationships break apart, people often assume their future is ruined. When doctors deliver difficult news, anxiety can quickly consume the mind. In those moments, it is easy to believe that your situation is hopeless. But what feels sudden to you was already known by God long before it happened. There are moments when life changes overnight. One phone call can bring devastating news. One decision from someone else can completely disrupt your plans. One disappointment can leave you questioning everything you believed. Yet even in those moments, God is not scrambling to fix your life. He already has resources, solutions, and opportunities prepared that you cannot yet see. Sometimes people believe that because they cannot see movement, nothing is happening. But God often works behind the scenes. Just like a seed planted underground appears invisible before growth begins, God may be preparing your breakthrough in hidden places. The roots are forming before the fruit appears. Progress may be taking place in areas beyond your vision. Many people focus only on what is happening right now, but God sees the bigger picture. He knows what needs to happen today in order to position you for what is coming tomorrow. What appears to be a setback may actually be divine protection. What feels like rejection may be redirection. What seems like delay may be preparation for something far greater than what you originally expected. There are doors God closes because they were never meant for your future. There are relationships he removes because they would have harmed your destiny. There are seasons of waiting that build strength, patience, and character within you. While you may be frustrated by the process, God understands what is necessary for your growth. Fear often grows when people assume they must solve every problem on their own. That pressure can become exhausting. You begin overthinking every detail, trying to force solutions and carrying burdens that were never meant for you to carry. But trusting God means recognizing that you are not alone in your battle. Even when your prayers seem unanswered, God is still listening. Even when your path seems unclear, God is still guiding. Even when your heart feels heavy, God is still working. His silence should never be mistaken for absence. There may be nights when you cry in private, wondering if things will ever improve. There may be moments when disappointment makes you question your future. But your current struggle is not proof that God has abandoned you. It may simply be evidence that he is working in ways you do not yet understand. God's plans are bigger than your current pain. His wisdom is greater than your confusion. His timing is better than your impatience. And his power is stronger than any obstacle standing in your way. The problem that keeps you awake at night is already known by God. The battle that feels impossible is already under his authority. The obstacle that seems permanent can be removed in a moment. What you see as chaos, God sees as part of a greater plan. What you call uncertainty, God calls preparation. What you fear today may become the testimony you celebrate tomorrow. Your responsibility is not to figure everything out. Your responsibility is to trust the one who already knows exactly how your story will unfold. One of the hardest experiences in life is waiting on something you desperately want to happen. You pray, you believe, you work hard, and you expect things to change quickly, but sometimes nothing seems to move. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and months can turn into years. During those seasons, frustration begins to grow because you start wondering why your prayers seem delayed. You may feel forgotten, overlooked, or even abandoned. But delay does not mean denial. Just because something hasn't happened yet does not mean it will never happen. Many people assume that if God is truly working, results should appear immediately. We live in a world that celebrates speed. Fast internet, fast delivery, instant communication, and immediate gratification have conditioned people to expect quick answers in every area of life. But spiritual growth, purpose, and divine timing rarely operate according to human impatience. Some blessings require preparation before they can be trusted in your hands. If everything arrived the moment you wanted it, you might step into opportunities you are not emotionally, mentally, or spiritually prepared to handle. Sometimes people pray for success, but lack discipline. They pray for relatives, ships, but have unresolved personal issues. They ask for financial increase while still struggling with poor habits. In these moments, waiting becomes preparation. What feels like delay may actually be God protecting you from receiving something too early. A blessing given before the right time can become a burden instead of a breakthrough. Timing matters because certain opportunities require maturity. Think about how often people quit during waiting seasons. They become discouraged because they assume silence means rejection. They compare their timeline to other people and begin questioning why someone else seems to be moving forward faster. Comparison creates unnecessary pain because you cannot compare your journey to someone else's assignment. Your life has a unique timeline. Your purpose has specific preparation. What happens for someone else quickly may require a different process for you. That does not make you less valuable. It simply means your journey is different. Waiting seasons often reveal what truly exists inside your heart. They expose impatience, fear, insecurity, and pride. They teach endurance. They build character. They strengthen faith. While people often focus only on the destination, growth frequently happens during the process. Many of life's greatest lessons are learned in seasons where nothing appears to be changing. You learn discipline when motivation disappears. You learn faith when visible evidence is absent. You learn trust when answers are delayed. These lessons create strength that will serve you in future seasons. There are moments when closed doors feel painful. You may have wanted a certain relationship to work. You may have expected a career opportunity to happen. You may have planned your life in a specific way. When things fall apart, disappointment can feel overwhelming, but closed doors can be acts of protection. Sometimes people ask for things that would have brought long-term regret if they had received them immediately. What feels like rejection today may later become something you are thankful for. Delays can also create opportunities for unexpected blessings. While you are focused on one path, God may be preparing something far greater than what you imagined. The opportunity you are crying over may be far smaller than what is coming. It is easy to trust when everything moves according to your schedule. True faith is revealed when nothing makes sense. Can you remain committed when progress feels invisible? Can you continue believing when circumstances remain unchanged? Patience is not passive. It does not mean doing nothing. It means continuing to work, pray, improve yourself, and remain faithful while trusting the process. Use delayed seasons wisely. Develop your skills, strengthen your mindset, improve your habits, deepen your faith. Prepare yourself for the opportunities ahead. Many people spend waiting seasons complaining instead of growing. They focus on frustration instead of preparation. Then when opportunity arrives, they are not ready. Your current delay may be positioning you for something greater than what you originally requested. The timing may not make sense right now, but clarity often comes later. One day you may look back and realize that what felt like an unbearable delay was actually one of the greatest gifts you ever received. It protected you from mistakes, prepared you for bigger responsibilities, and positioned you for greater opportunities. What feels slow today is not permanent. Your story is still unfolding. Your waiting season has purpose. Your delivery is not denial. Something is being prepared, and when the right time comes, everything can change faster than you imagined. Worry has a way of quietly taking control of your mind when life feels uncertain. It often begins with one unanswered question, one unexpected setback, or one situation that seems beyond your control. At first, it feels like simple concern, but over time, it can grow into constant fear, overthinking, and emotional exhaustion. You replay situations in your mind, imagine worst-case scenarios, and try to predict outcomes that have not even happened. The more you think about the problem, the heavier your heart becomes. Yet, despite all the mental energy worry demands, it never produces solutions. Worry convinces people that if they think hard enough, they can somehow control the future. It creates the false belief that constant mental stress will prepare you for every possible outcome. But no matter how many sleepless nights you experience, worry cannot change tomorrow. It cannot heal relationships, pay bills, open doors, restore health, or reverse painful situations. It drains your present while offering nothing productive in return. Many people wake up already. Why carrying emotional pressure? Because their minds never truly rested. They begin the day thinking about unpaid bills, unresolved family problems, uncertain careers, health concerns, or personal disappointments. Instead of embracing the opportunities of the day, they become trapped in mental cycles of fear. Their thoughts move from one problem to another until peace feels impossible to find. Worry also affects your physical health. Stress can create headaches, fatigue, difficulty sleeping, loss of focus, and emotional burnout. Your body often carries what your mind refuses to release. Over time, worry can make people feel emotionally drained and spiritually disconnected. It becomes difficult to think clearly when fear constantly dominates your thoughts. One of the most dangerous aspects of worry is that it shifts your attention away from what is still possible. When you are consumed by fear, you often fail to recognize opportunities that are right in front of you. You may miss valuable relationships, creative solutions, and moments of joy because your mind is locked on what could go wrong. Worry often grows strongest when people feel powerless, when situations cannot be controlled. D, fear attempts to fill the gap. You may worry about outcomes because you hate uncertainty. You may fear failure, rejection, disappointment, or loss. But trying to control everything only increases frustration because life will always contain situations beyond your control. There are moments when people create scenarios in their minds that never happen. They spend weeks worrying about conversations, outcomes, and disasters that never become reality. They suffer emotionally from events that exist only in their imagination. Fear can be deceptive because it magnifies possibilities while ignoring hope. Peace begins when you accept that not everything is yours to carry. Some burdens were never meant to remain on your shoulders. Constantly trying to solve everything alone leads to exhaustion. You were not designed to live under endless pressure. Replacing worry requires intentional discipline. It means challenging fearful thoughts before they grow stronger. It means refusing to let negative assumptions control your decisions. It means choosing faith over panic even when answers are not immediate. This does not mean ignoring problems. Responsible action is important. If there are POR, complete the steps you need to take them. Work hard, make wise decisions, seek advice, and address what you can control. But after you have done your part, there is no benefit in allowing fear to consume your mind. Gratitude can also weaken worry. When you focus only on problems, life feels overwhelming. When you intentionally recognize what is still good in your life, your perspective begins to shift. Gratitude reminds you that difficult seasons do not erase every blessing. Worry steals time you can never recover. It steals joy from moments that should be appreciated. It damages your focus and limits your ability to fully engage with life. Years can pass while people remain trapped in fear over situations that eventually work themselves out. Your future deserves preparation, but it does not deserve panic. Your problems deserve attention, but they do not deserve control over your entire life. Fear may speak loudly, but it does not have the final word. Peace becomes possible when you stop allowing uncertainty to dominate your thoughts. Your life is too valuable to be consumed by endless worry. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control whether fear becomes your daily companion. Release what you cannot control and protect your peace before worry steals any more of your life. There are moments in life when circumstances seem completely impossible. You may find yourself facing problems that appear too large, too complicated, or too painful to overcome. The doors you hoped would open remain shut. The opportunities you expected disappear. Resources run low. Relationships become strained. Health challenges arise unexpectedly. In those moments, it can feel as though you have reached the end of your options. You may begin to believe there is no solution left. But some of the greatest breakthroughs happen when human possibilities run out. People often place too much trust in what they can see. If visible opportunities disappear, they assume their future is over. If current resources are limited, they believe success is impossible. If they experience repeated rejection, they assume no new doors will ever open. Human vision is often limited to present circumstances, but possibilities can exist beyond what is immediately visible. Many of life's greatest opportunities arrive in unexpected ways. A chance meeting can lead to a career breakthrough. One convenience. Our station can create a life-changing partnership. An unexpected phone call can introduce a new opportunity. A setback can redirect you toward a path that ultimately becomes far greater than your original plan. There are countless stories of people who thought their lives were finished after major disappointments. Some lost jobs they depended on. Others experienced painful breakups. Some faced financial collapse. Others battled serious health conditions. At the time, many believed their future had been destroyed. Yet later they discovered that those painful seasons were often turning points that led to better outcomes. What appears impossible often feels permanent because emotions magnify present pain. When people are overwhelmed, they struggle to imagine life improving. They become trapped in the belief that current suffering will last forever. But circumstances can change quickly. History is filled with individuals who overcame extraordinary obstacles. Businesses were built after repeated failures. Careers were created after years of rejection. Relationships were restored after deep conflict. People recovered from illnesses doctors considered impossible. Breakthroughs often happen. And after seasons of uncertainty, the biggest limitation people face is often their own mindset. When you believe nothing can improve, you stop looking for solutions. You stop taking risks. You stop noticing opportunities. Defeat begins internally before it becomes external. Maintaining hope during difficult seasons requires mental discipline. It means refusing to allow temporary setbacks to define your future. It means recognizing that current limitations do not determine long-term possibilities. Sometimes opportunities are hidden inside painful experiences. Losing one job may push you toward entrepreneurship. Rejection from one opportunity may position you for something better aligned with your strengths. A failed relationship may protect you from years of unhappiness. What feels painful today may serve a greater purpose later. People often want solutions to appear instantly, but many breakthroughs happen gradually. Progress may begin with small steps. One new skill learned, one helpful relationship built, one opportunity pursued, one day of persistence repeated consistently over time. It is important to remain open to unexpected paths. Sometimes the solution you are praying for or looks different than what you originally imagined. You may be focused on one door while another better opportunity is quietly opening elsewhere. Fear can make people remain stuck in familiar frustration because uncertainty feels risky. Yet growth often requires stepping into unfamiliar territory. New possibilities may require courage. Resilience becomes essential when facing impossible situations. Resilience means continuing forward even when progress feels slow. It means adapting when plans change. It means refusing to let temporary obstacles permanently stop your momentum. Many breakthroughs happen after people decide they will not quit. They continue learning, improving, applying, building, and believing despite repeated setbacks. Persistence often creates opportunities that would never exist for those who give up early. Your current challenge may look impossible because you cannot yet see the full picture. There may be connections being formed, opportunities developing, and solutions emerging beyond your awareness. Life can change faster than you expect. The situation causing you stress today may look completely different months from now. The obstacle that feels permanent, NT may eventually become a story of survival and growth. Do not allow present circumstances to convince you that your future is limited. There are opportunities you have not seen, solutions you have not considered, and breakthroughs you cannot yet imagine. What feels impossible today may simply be the beginning of a story you will one day be grateful you survived. Fear has a powerful way of taking over when life becomes uncertain. It often enters quietly through unanswered questions, unexpected setbacks, painful disappointments, and situations that feel beyond your control. You may not even realize how deeply fear has influenced your thinking until you begin avoiding opportunities, doubting your potential, and expecting failure before anything has even happened. Fear thrives in uncertainty because it constantly demands guarantees that life simply cannot provide. When people do not know what comes next, fear often begins creating negative stories. It tells you that your current struggle will last forever. It convinces you that failure is inevitable. It reminds you of past disappointments and uses them as evidence that future success is impossible. Over time, fear can become so low. That it shapes decisions, relationships, careers, and personal goals. Many people miss life-changing opportunities because fear convinces them to stay comfortable. They remain in jobs they dislike because they fear financial instability. They stay silent about their ideas because they fear criticism. They avoid meaningful relationships because they fear rejection. They refuse to pursue dreams because they fear failure. In many cases, fear creates prisons without physical walls. One of the most damaging effects of fear is hesitation. Opportunities often require action, but fear delays movement. It causes overthinking, second-guessing, and endless preparation without execution. While caution can be wise, constant hesitation can destroy momentum. Fear also magnifies obstacles. A small challenge can appear enormous when viewed through fear. A temporary setback can feel permanent. A single rejection can feel like proof that success will never happen. Fear distorts perspective by focusing only on what could go wrong. Faith operates differently. Faith acknowledges uncertainty but moves forward anyway. It accepts that there may be risks, but it refuses to let fear make every decision. And faith understands that growth often requires stepping into situations without complete guarantees. This does not mean acting recklessly. Faith still values preparation, wisdom, and responsibility. It means refusing to let fear become the controlling voice in your life. You can plan carefully while still believing positive outcomes are possible. Every person faces moments where fear feels overwhelming. Starting a business, changing careers, entering relationships, recovering from failure, speaking publicly, or making major life decisions can all trigger fear. The goal is not to eliminate fear completely. The goal is to prevent fear from controlling your future. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is taking action despite fear. It means acknowledging uncertainty while refusing to surrender your dreams. Confidence grows through repeated action. The more you face difficult situations, the more evidence you build that you can survive discomfort. Many things that once seemed terrifying become manageable after experience. Fear often loses power when you challenge worst-case thinking. Ask yourself whether your fears are based on facts or assumptions. Many people spend years fearing outcomes that never happen. Failure is another major source of fear. Many people avoid pursuing goals because they fear embarrassment if things do not work out. But failure is often part of growth. Most successful individuals have experienced setbacks, mistakes, and disappointments. Failure teaches lessons that success often cannot. Trusting the future requires accepting that not everything will unfold perfectly. Unexpected problems may arise. Plans may change. But challenges do not mean your future is ruined. Adaptability creates strength. Your life becomes smaller when fear controls your decisions. Dreams shrink. Opportunities disappear. Potential remains unused. Over time, regret can become more painful than failure itself. Faith expands possibilities. It allows people to pursue meaningful goals despite uncertainty. It creates resilience during setbacks. It keeps hope alive when circumstances feel unstable. The future belongs to people willing to move forward despite uncertainty. Growth requires action. Success requires risk. Healing requires vulnerability. Progress requires belief. There will always be reasons to feel afraid. There will always be uncertainties you cannot control. But fear does not deserve authority over your future. Your dreams, goals, purpose, and potential are too important to surrender to fear. Move forward even when answers feel incomplete. Trust that progress is possible. Believe that opportunities still exist. Refuse to let fear write the story of your life, when faith can take you much further than fear ever could. A new keynote 6 was not part of the original structure, but to keep your speech complete and powerful. Here is a strong continuation that fits the same message and tone. There comes a point in life when you must decide what voice you will believe more, the voice of fear or the voice of faith. Fear will always try to interpret your situation through what is visible. It will point to delays, failures, closed doors, and unanswered prayers. It will remind you of everything that has gone wrong and suggest that nothing will ever improve. But faith sees beyond what is visible. Faith does not deny reality, but it refuses to accept that current reality is permanent. Many people struggle not because their situation is impossible, but because their mindset becomes fixed on limitation. When you repeatedly focus on problems, your vision becomes narrow. You stop expecting change. You stop imagining possibilities. You start living as if your current season is your final destination. But life is always moving, and situations that feel permanent today can shift unexpectedly.